really matters? That might be the most important question you can ask. So let's talk about it. Welcome to What Really Matters podcast, Everyday Spirituality with Karen Wyatt. I'm glad you're here with me today. I'm going to be addressing another question. If you heard last week, I've been examining these questions about life that people most frequently enter into Google. I found a list of 20 or so different questions that people Google who are searching for answers about life. And I decided to address some of those questions myself, partly because those are questions I also am asking now or have asked in the past. And because I think they're so important and it's really valuable for us to stop and contemplate them and consider our own answers. And what's clear to me is that we will continue answering these questions throughout life. They're just fundamental to our humanity. And our own answers to the questions may change over time as we learn more and grow. So by contemplating and talking about those questions here in this podcast, I'm not suggesting that I have the answers. Oh, here it is. Here's the answer everyone's looking for. I'm only talking about my own quest and search for answers and what makes sense to me right now at this place on my journey, in hopes that it will inspire you to do your own contemplation about these very basic, fundamental questions about life. So the first question that I looked at is, why do bad things happen? That correlates really well with the first of the 7 lessons, which is suffering. Next, I looked at how to be happy, which in some ways may also correlate with suffering, but possibly with all of these lessons, really. And today I want to look at a third question that is frequently asked on Google, which is, how do I find love? And of course, love is a huge theme for me. It's part of my closing tagline of every single podcast, is to remember that we're here for love. So I believe this is the most fundamental question we could ever ask about life. So it's way too big for me to actually even be trying to answer this question in a brief podcast episode. But I want to just give you a little glimpse of how I think about love and how I myself am working on my own ability to give and receive love, because ultimately I think that's what we're able to do. We're able to cultivate an ability to both receive love and to give it to others. And that's what it's about. That's a large part of what we're here for in these lifetimes on this planet. So I'll just talk about this a little bit. And it's interesting. I'm looking up right now, tacked to my wall is a little sculpture made of copper wire that says love and has a heart behind it. And that was actually made by a homeless person in San Francisco. Someone had given him a spool of wire and he was twisting it into different shapes and different messages. And I stopped and bought that from him because it really resonated with me. And I also wanted to support him for being creative in the world and finding a way that he could make something that could actually be a blessing and a benefit to other people. So I'm talking about love, and I'm looking at the word love on my wall in this little sculpture twisted out of copper wire, which is just one of my favorite things that I own. So when I first read that question, how do I find love? That's one of the most frequently asked questions on Google. I realized that probably most people who type that in are literally looking for a romantic partner. They really are looking for someone in their lives to connect with. Or possibly even maybe they're also looking for a pet or a plant. They're looking in some way to feel connected and to have a relationship. So I understand that's the level at which that question is probably most often asked. And lots of people might come up with answers like, oh, try this dating site, or go here. Have you joined this group? And so I realized there might be certain practical answers for people who are looking for a partner. But romantic love is just a small part of how I view love in general. And I really want to talk about the bigger picture of love and not focus on romantic love, though it's obvious it's part of our nature as human beings, as living organisms, that we long to be connected. We long to feel our connection to others in one way or another. And that's a deep drive within us for many, many reasons. But all of us have that longing inside. We want to be seen by another. We want to have others that we can see with our own eyes on a deeper level and feel a special connection with. So love is this essential task of all of our lives. We're all seeking it. We're all longing for it and desiring it in our lives. We want to feel connected. One of the things that I have learned on my spiritual journey is that love is really the energy of the universe, the energy that fuels and animates the entire universe, the energy that leads to creativity, growth, change, evolution, is actually love. So the big picture of love, that love is the life force we feel within us. So every one of us already contains and carries love within us. It's just that we are not aware of it. We don't sense our own loving energy inside of us that is pulsing through us constantly, moment to moment. And we don't sense that through that loving energy, we are already connected to everything else in the universe. There is an electromagnetic force emitted from our own hearts that other people sense. We now know from some of the science the Heart Math Institute is doing, showing that trees and plants connect with the electromagnetic energy of our hearts. So does the earth itself, the electromagnetic energy of the earth. We connect with every other living thing and communicate really through this force field that we carry within us at all times. And I believe that force field is love. That's how I look at it. So we already are love. We already carry love. We have love within us, but we don't recognize that or understand it about ourselves. One of the reasons for that is that we operate primarily through our egos, our lower mind and lower consciousness, which is oblivious to that electromagnetic force field. And to our lower minds, we are separate beings. The lower mind doesn't recognize our connections with all the rest of life in the universe. So for the lower mind, I'm a separate, single, isolated individual, and I'm constantly looking for ways to connect that are more tangible, that my lower mind can grasp and understand and experience. And so that's why we type questions like, how do I find love? Because the lower mind is seeking what it already possesses but doesn't recognize. So in the last episode, I talked about happiness as being an inside job. So is love. Love is already inside, but love is inside, outside, throughout. It is infinite. It is expansive. It's everywhere. It connects us to everything. And so once we come to recognize that, we begin to learn that love isn't really something to be sought outside of us. Though, of course, we look for ways that we can share the love that we feel within us. And we need other people to share that love with. So we definitely need relationships. And that's what we do seek out. We seek out the people who might be good receivers of our love and good reciprocators of love to give us back the love that we're carrying, that we have within us. But we already have the love that we need. It is inside of us. It is the component part of our entire being. It is what animates us. So you may have heard this quote by Rumi before, which is one of my favorite quotes. And Rumi writes, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." I'll read that again. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So that goes along with what I was saying. The love is already within us. The issue is that we have barriers within us to experiencing the love, and those barriers primarily come from lower consciousness. And we can spend our time looking for love outside of us, but that actually doesn't get us anywhere, because we still won't be able to feel the connectedness that is already within us, even if we find certain people or a dog or a plant that we are able to give and receive love from. We still will not have discovered that connectedness that underlies all of this, all of life. So the task that we should be working on when we want to find love is actually to go within ourselves, and this is why love is an inside job, and look for whatever barriers we have against recognizing and feeling the love that is already within us. So now, obviously, this is a lifetime practice and something we could talk about and study and work on forever. And so, again, because this is a short little podcast episode, there's no way I'm going to be able to truly cover this in very much depth. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about something that I use that helps me when I'm working on looking for those barriers to love and thinking about what they are. So one of my favorite tools that I have used throughout my time of working intentionally on my spiritual growth is the loving kindness blessing, or metta, which comes from the Buddhist tradition. And I have a particular version of it that I use, which just someone shared it at a workshop many, many years ago, and I copied it down and I've memorized it, and it's really valuable to me. I'm going to quote that for you, and then we're going to go back and break it down step by step, because I think that will help us as we're looking for the barriers against love. So here's the version of the loving kindness blessing that I resonate with. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I realize the beauty of my own true nature. May I be healed, and may I be a source of healing for this world. Okay, so those are 5 steps, 5 little prayers that we're going to look at one at a time. The first one is, may I be at peace. So let's say being at peace is one of the first steps toward removing barriers to love, removing barriers to discovering the connectedness that is already inside of us. And I look at this as dealing with our chaotic emotions, which I think are one type of barrier toward just getting in touch with the love that resides within. So the chaotic emotions include anger, fear, anxiety, worry about the future and about what's going to happen, regret about the past, blame for other people, or shame. These emotions keep our thoughts and our mind swirling all the time. They burn a lot of our psychospiritual energy. they keep us constantly in our heads and prevent us from going deeper within into our hearts. So the little prayer, "May I be at peace," is suggesting that we find ways to deal with the chaotic emotions. We don't get rid of them, but we do acknowledge and embrace them, and we ask them to quiet down. And we find a place where we can resolve those emotions enough that we still carry them with us, but they're not predominant in our thought fields and in our mindset. And that we're not constantly acting from these emotions, acting out anger or fear or blame or shame, but we feel at peace. We find a place of equanimity within us where all of our emotions exist, but they are not controlling our behavior and they're not dominating our thoughts. So the first step, I think, of removing these obstacles to love is dealing with our emotions. And maybe we need to have tools for ventilating the emotions. I like journaling to write about whatever is upsetting me during the day, because once I get it out on paper, it tends to calm down and I get it out of my head. I've listened to myself, I've experienced it, I've validated and acknowledged the emotion, but I no longer allow it to control me and how I behave. So we need various tools to get ourselves to this place of peace or equanimity within. I think exercise, dance, music, those can be great ways of reducing our emotions. Maybe talking to another person, although ventilating to another person can sometimes be harmful to the other person if we are kind of taking advantage of them by, spewing out all of our negativity onto them. But we all probably have people in our lives who are willing to help us with that from time to time when we need it. So the first step here is to figure out, how am I going to deal with my chaotic emotions when they arise, to help me return to a place of greater equanimity and peace. So that'll be up to you to figure out what works for you. As I said, journaling is one of the best ways for me. And actually, as long as I've been working on this, I can fairly quickly see my emotions, spot them for what they are, and get back to a place of peace without doing too much about it. Simply recognizing, oh, whoa, I'm something triggered me right there. What's going on? And as soon as I recognize it and I listen to myself, I'm able to calm down fairly quickly. Not always. I don't want to claim that at all. But the more you practice bringing your emotions down to a calmer level, the better you get at it. So let's move on to the second little prayer of this blessing, which is, "May my heart remain open." And so this little prayer is suggesting we go directly within. We look at the reasons why we may have a closed heart. And it's often because of pain. It's often because we've been wounded and we're defensive and we're protecting ourselves. There may be an unwillingness within us to be vulnerable and connect with other people because we've been hurt before doing that. And so those are some of the reasons why our heart might be closed. And that's one of the major obstacles to this genuine exchange of love with another person, is that we are in protection mode. We've surrounded our heart and walled it off to make sure we don't ever get hurt again. So we really do have to look at that defensiveness that we carry with us, review our wounds, think it over, think of how we can find a place of forgiveness toward other people. How can we heal our wounds enough so that we are willing to let down our guard a little bit, allow the obstacles to dissipate, and open our hearts once more. That's the only way that love will be able to get in and out, is through an open heart. Part of it is also developing a mindset that the universe is basically a good place. The universe is basically on my side. It's beneficent, like I'm here for a good reason, and there is love in the universe. and love and support for me. I may not always feel it. I may not always see it. I definitely don't hear about it very often when I listen to the news or when I'm on social media. But I believe that there is goodness and love in the universe and that our basic nature is love. So reminding myself of that belief is what can bring me back to a place of knowing, even if I might get hurt, if I love someone, if I take a chance, I might get hurt again, but I will survive that and I will grow from that and I will learn from it. It won't destroy me. It will simply be part of my process of learning. And so this train of thought is how I have worked toward removing some of the barriers to love that surround my heart and opening my heart. Again, this is a long-term process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual. It's like unwrapping layers and layers of protection around the heart, just a little bit at a time, and helping myself feel safer and safer, that it's okay to love. And the next step, we'll talk about that, part of that is being able to reassure myself that I have all the love that I need. It isn't really going to come from another person. It's already within me. And so when I relax the guard, the defensiveness around my heart, then I can let the love flow more freely and experience to a much deeper level the love that is already within me. So may my heart remain open. May I let down my guard. May I recognize the goodness within the universe and be willing to take a chance on loving and to risk that my heart might get broken again in the future. The third prayer is, may I realize the beauty of my own true nature. I love this. I love the sound of it and the thought, the beauty of my own true nature, who I really am, which is my soul, my higher self, which is the part of me that is connected to the divine. When I can recognize that beauty within me, that divinity that is within me, that's when I begin to see, oh, it's love. That's the love that resides within me, that I carry within me at all times. And I begin to recognize that I'm good enough. I'm enough to carry this love. I'm enough to share it with other people, to receive even more love from others. And so the idea of being able to see the beauty of our own true nature means that we have to heal the wounds to our self-esteem that we have acquired throughout our lives. We have to heal all those messages within us that we're bad, we're wrong, we're too much, we're not enough, and all of those huge and also small messages that we've incorporated that tell us that there's something wrong with us, that our essential nature, who we truly are, is beautiful. We truly are love. We truly are connected to the divine. That's who we are as the essence of our being. And so, again, this is part of that healing and growing process, to be able to see, I am a beautiful person in this world. I'm a beautiful part of this creation, playing my role, taking up my place here within creation and offering what I have to the universe. And so this is part of opening our hearts and then beginning to recognize the beauty of that truthful, true nature that is within us, and feeling confident and feeling self-esteem about the beauty that we carry with us and that we're able to share with others. The fourth prayer is, may I be healed. This reminds us that we have to view our wounds as wounds that need healing. They need attention in order to heal. And so we do have to spend some time looking at specific things that may have happened in our past, writing about them, contemplating them, things that have caused us damage or harm, and helping ourselves reevaluate those experiences and reframe them so that we can find a way to rise above them and not to continually be pulled back down into the pain of those wounds, to suffer over and over again whatever harm was done to us in the past, but to find a way to bring enough healing to the wounds that we still carry them. Once again, they don't disappear, but we carry them with higher consciousness, and we see those wounds as becoming part of the fabric, really, of our own true nature, of that beauty that is who we really are. Our wounds become, I think, there's a quote from a song, the wounds are where the light comes in. And so we see our brokenness, our hurt, our pain, our woundedness as part of what makes us unique in this world. It's part of our true beauty. So we learn to carry our wounds, but to not be buried by our wounds. And that's what healing is. So we do have to do intentional, active work on those wounds, though. We have to identify them. We have to know what they are and be aware of where they came from. We have to relive them to help us really understand the pain that's been present and to release that pain, and ultimately then to rise above it and to see this wound as part of who I am. It is not the totality of who I am. And actually, this wound has taught me things. I've learned things through this wound that are going to give me depth and character and make me a better person in the end. So as we go through this process of healing, we recognize that we are loved and we are capable of love. That's how we're going to heal. We are able to deal with the pain of the past and carry it with us without getting drawn over and over back into those chaotic emotions, without becoming defensive and protecting our heart. So remaining open, remaining at peace, and continually working to bring more and more healing to those wounds that are within us. And the last prayer is, may I be a source of healing for this world. And that is where the true sharing of love actually happens. When we have gone through the other 4 steps, then we are truly able to become a healing force for others. We're suddenly in a state where love is flowing freely through us, that electromagnetic energy that is creative and healing flows from us easily. We don't even have to do anything or think about it. It flows from us. It's part of the aura we carry with us that other people experience from it, and other people can begin to heal, be inspired to grow just from being in our presence. We will become a wellspring of love that has the capability of healing others around us when we reach this state. So let's go back again through these 5 steps, the 5 little prayers of the loving kindness blessing as a review. So first of all, may I be at peace. May I find a way to work with my own emotions so that I can stay in a place of equanimity as much as possible. Number 2, may my heart remain open. May I work on my defensiveness so that I allow myself to be vulnerable to other people and authentic. Number 3, may I realize the beauty of my own true nature. May I feel confident in who I am as this unique part of the divine, of the universe in this world. May I know that I have something powerful to bring to this world, and recognize that I am a powerful and unique being of beauty, and the world needs whatever I have to offer. And number 4, may I be healed. May I have the courage to go through the wounds and the pain from my past, to work on healing them and rising above them, not so that I can remove them from my life, but so that I know how to carry them with love and grace, and so that I can rise above my own chaotic emotions and defensiveness and feeling of separateness. And then finally, may I be a source of healing for this world. May I be a free and open channel for the love of the universe, the divine love, to flow into me and out through me to other people without me even knowing it, without me focusing on doing that or trying to do that. May it happen spontaneously wherever I am. May I find that I'm able to offer and spread love without even trying and without even seeking it. So those are my thoughts about how to find love and how to work on love. These are all things I'm working intently upon. Not that I'm very good at any of these yet. I just want to make that clear. This is such a powerful process for lifetimes that we will keep working on. But I just wanted to share with you the thoughts that came in my mind when I read that question, how do I find love? And let you know this is what I'm working on. I'd love to hear what you're working on. So you can reach out to me. There you can record a message. I think there should be a link at the bottom of this podcast if you want to record a message to me. You can send me an email, Karen@KarenWyattMD.com. You can reach me through Twitter @SpiritualMD or on Facebook and Instagram, Karen Wyatt MD, I think. So send me a message and let me know how you are working to find love in your own life. And so until next week, I'll come back with another episode and another question to consider. Remember that we're here for love. That is the essence of this entire journey. So face your fear, be ready for whatever happens next, and love each and every moment of your life. Bye-bye.